You've been depressed lately, haven't you? Imagining yourself as a blue person, living with the Sully family, swimming in the water with the Tolkun, and soaring through the air with your Ikran. You might be thinking, maybe I have avatar depression, also known as post-avatar depression syndrome, also known as avatar blues. So if you're feeling this way, let's break down the psychology of it. First off the bat, the Avatar films are beautiful. The nature, the creatures, heck, even the Na'vi themselves. And this was all done on purpose. I mean, as aliens, the Na'vi sure do look similar to humans. We both have 2 arms, 2 legs, forward-facing eyes, and we both stand up like this. I mean, yes, they have blue skin and a tail, and they're really tall, but structurally, we're really similar to them. The Na'vi were designed like this so that we as the audience could emotionally and socially identify with them. They have human features, so they must be like us. If the Na'vi looked like some ugly, completely otherworldly creature, we would find it so much harder to relate to them. This is basically anthropomorphism. Although the Na'vi are not humans, we attribute human traits to them so that we can better understand them. And speaking of the ugliness of aliens, the Na'vi are quite literally the opposite. They're designed to be attractive, even more attractive than humans. They have thin waists, they're lean, they're super tall, and they're stronger and more agile than humans. All of these characteristics are things that people in the current day would desire. It's almost like the beauty standard. Our positive perception of the Na'vi may also be the workings of the halo effect. That is, because of their attractiveness, we have the subconscious cognitive bias that other things about them should be good as well. Since they're attractive, they must be morally right. They're the peaceful species. And they are obviously better and wiser than the majority of humans in the film. So basically, we're able to relate to the Na'vi because they look so similar to us. Now this brings me to the core question. Why are we feeling depressed after watching the movie? Well, according to psychology, there are 2 ways that you can connect to a fictional character. Number 1 is parasocial relationships. This is the idea that people view fictional characters as their real friends. Number 2 is identification, and this is when someone sees themselves in a character and they start to adopt the character's beliefs, attitudes, and morals. But number 1 is our focus for today, parasocial relationships. You've probably seen the recent craze over Avatar Fire and Ash. With the rise of AI, people have been editing themselves into Pandora and next to their favorite fictional characters. And of course, there's always been fan fiction and the idea of YN, or your name. This is where people basically imagine themselves as a character inside the world of Pandora, immersing themselves into the communities, basically reading stories on that, and basically pretending to have a relationship with the characters. Forming such parasocial relationships with fictional characters is ultimately a coping mechanism to combat the loneliness and frustration that people feel in real life. When people compare their real life to a life where you could have a large community of people, where you can fly on an Ikran and go wherever you want, it makes life look really bleak. Additionally, the plot in the first movie doesn't help this case. Jake Sully, our protagonist, is alienated from society, an outcast, and he struggles with his disability. I am outcast. This is a bit of an oversimplification, but instead of addressing his problems in the real world, he escapes and permanently turns into a Na'vi. Thus, the only solution we as audiences are given is, if you're struggling with your life, escape. Turn into a blue person and you'll no longer be disabled. You'll be able to walk again, and you'll find love and belonging in a community. And you'll be able to finally reconnect with nature. And maybe that's why people contemplated suicide after the first movie came out, in hopes of being magically reborn into Pandora, just like Jake. And something interesting I found out about in my research is a study by Cohen in 2003. They found that the emotional response to finishing a TV show imitates the emotional response in ending a friendship. So basically, we make these parasocial relationships when we're watching these shows and films, and then afterwards, we have to say goodbye. Maybe that's why people like to make edits of films and TV shows that came out years ago. And a lot of people engage with those edits as well. It's almost like we're trying to keep this friendship alive. Another reason for the depressiveness of Avatar is the fact that it's set up as an ecological utopia, otherwise known as an ecotopia, which is an ideal society that harmonizes with nature. The Na'vi have and also care for the natural resources they have. The Na'vi are also able to connect to any living thing in Pandora, and this allows space for deep understanding and empathy, something which people in the modern world may desire. Out of the top 50 highest grossing films, other than Avatar, Avatar Way of Water, and Avatar Fire and Ash, the only other films that depict themes of nature and ecotopia are Moana 2 and The Lion King remake. Both films are in the family or children category, and both are framed in such a way that the story feels fictional, and it's harder for me to relate to the story or the characters as a young adult. Whereas in Avatar, James Cameron's innovative performance capture and also CGI create the illusion of reality. You may argue that the Na'vi are literally blue aliens, and that's the epitome of fiction, but the movie is framed in such a way that it makes it seem plausible. As I mentioned before, they literally look like humans, and the animals inside the world could resemble horses, whales, and birds. And we also see bioluminescence in the films, but that also exists on Earth. These make the world of Avatar seem almost familiar. It just doesn't feel like something completely exotic. It makes you question whether we as humans were meant to live like the Na'vi, connected and surrounded with nature, hunting for our own food, and feeling stress and fear because of the need to survive, not because of money or work. That is not to say that Pandora is the exact same as Earth. Of course, people are drawn to its vibrant, lush nature, something that people in the bleak modern world would desire. People are drawn to it because of the tight-knit community in the world of Pandora, and isolated individuals are drawn to that. People are drawn to the ability of the Na'vi to connect so deeply with nature, and also to be able to fly on an ikran and swim with the Tolkun. It's something that people who lack freedom and liberty and the thrill of life would desire. Ultimately, I think Avatar makes people sad because it reminds us of what we do not have, whether it be the bioluminescent landscapes in Pandora or the endearing relationships between the characters in the films. But maybe we should turn to Earth and appreciate and care for what we do have. What's stopping us from traveling the world and seeing breathtaking views and meeting new people? If there's a will, there's a way. And I'll leave you a quote from Jake Sully himself. I'm trying to understand this deep connection people have to the forest. She talks about a network of energy that flows through all living things. She says all energy is only borrowed, and one day you have to give it back.